In front of you is Daniel Ireda, and many of you know Daniel. He just transferred. He just left Cabrillo. Spring semester was his last semester, and this is his first semester at the Bell program. And then Ray, you transferred about a year ago, but I think you took time off too.
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than that.
Okay.
There were
All right.
some things in between.
Okay. Is this your first semester though, Ray, at the Bell
Yes,
program?
first semester at Bell.
Okay. And then Tim, you're here too. Tim just took statics last year. And Tim, this is your first semester at the Bell program.
Yep, correct.
And then Andrew is a faculty member at the Bell program in Minnesota. And he's here with his students to talk to us about the program. And also I wanted to introduce everybody to Carlos, who's joining us. And Carlos is an industrial engineer who works in Hollister and previously worked in Watsonville for a company. And he's interested in possibly making a connection with the Bell program and Cabrillo students who transferred to Bell. Okay. So I'm going to mute myself, and Andrew, you could take over. And here is Jordan, who was in statics last semester, and this is our first semester at the Bell program too. So Andrew, I think you have the ability to share.
Awesome. Thank you, Joanne.
Okay.
All right. So this is what we decided we're going to plan for. So I'm going to skim through super quick, give you an overview of what this Bell program thing is. But my colleagues here, the student engineers before you, are, I want time for them to talk to, introduce themselves, give a little takeaway as well. And then we'll go to Q&A so we can have some back and forth. So while you're preparing questions, things like that, we would be happy to field some. So Joanne introduced me, but give you a little bit of my background. I started out as a diesel mechanic, hurt my hands, went back to college, became an engineer. So I am an engineer. And then I graduated and went into rebuilding circuitry. I was a supervisor, so I had managerial experience, and I then opened my own business, which I still run today. So I'm an entrepreneur, engineer, and an educator. So I'm busy. That's the gist of my background. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit, give you a high-level overview of this program called the Iron Range Engineering Bell program. Basically, we're a work-based way to get your engineering degree when you transfer from a community college. So on that note, why do we exist? Well, we really primarily were designed for community college students that are completing prereqs locally at Cabrillo, for example. We also created a work-based platform. So you can earn while you learn. So you could work for a company, kind of like what Carlos is doing, but you could go to school while you do it, which is a unique way while earning credit. There are many schools you can take a semester off, but our plan doesn't include time off. It includes you can do this while working. I'll explain more about that in a minute. A lot of entry-level positions require 2 years of experience. Our program, that's actually integrated in the curriculum. Then you graduate totally qualifying for those entry-level positions. All right, gonna give you a quick overview. Conceptually, this is how we approach education for engineering. Actually, most of our professors literally study engineering education. That's what they got their theses in. Don't know if I said that right. So basically, being an engineer is the skill set that your career rests on. We break that down, there's 3 legs to that stool that supports you in your career. There's technical learning. Like any university, we teach technical theory, address all of those concepts. We do it in a little different way. So active learning and verbal exams, not written. Maybe some of my colleagues today can touch on what those are like. Professionalism, we're learning how to interact with teams. present with each other. So this is actually part of their curriculum, is practicing presentations. And then the design side, my favorite part, that's what I'm in charge of, open-ended problem solving. So pause for a sec. This is the layout of the program. You would complete prereq courses at Cabrillo. If this program sparked any interest in you, you would come to our program for this intense semester called the Bell Academy. That's what my partners here today are in right now. After that semester, you work out on co-op or internship anywhere in the world. You get the job. So I'm not going to hand you a job. You learn how to do career development, network, interview, develop a resume and cover letter, things like that. Do follow-ups, learn how to say thank you. Variety of different things. But then you work 40 to 45 hours a week. You do about 12 hours a week of schoolwork, but you're supported through this whole thing as a family. I don't have better words to describe our support network. I'll highlight that on the next slide. And then you get a degree that's a Bachelor of Science in Engineering in whatever focus area you wish. So once my mouse shows up, there it is. I'm going to post my info and a couple links in the chat. So that is my cell, that is my email. And then there's two links. There's one to learn more. There's one to become a Bell Scholar, which I'll talk about. My ask of you is not to apply to the program. It's to simply join our community and become what's called a Bell Scholar. So we have a community sort of, I don't want to say program because it's really not. It's a pathway to get to our program while you're still at Cabrillo. We support you. We get you ready. So you send your cover letter to us, we review it. You send your resume, we start helping you. Because day one in our program, we need you to be running, not walking. Some of my colleagues might highlight that more. I just want to say that is my ask. If you want to learn more, that's how you learn more. And I appreciate you hearing me out, but like I said, my colleagues want to share things, so I'm going to let them share. So which of you is going first? We didn't rehearse this part, so you never know.
Sure, I'll start us off.
All right.
Hang on, Ray. Hey, Andrew, should we have you not share the screen and I could, yeah, great. And then everybody, you want to do a speaker view. Okay, Ray.
Hi, so I'm Ray. I started out at, I actually started at UCSC and then I transferred into Cabrillo, where I just found I was so much more supported in my classes. It was these smaller classes with teachers that wanted to be there to teach you rather than to do research. And so rather than bouncing out of Cabrillo to another one of those traditional universities, Andrew came and visited one of my classes, much like this. And I reached out to him through email, and I think Andrew and I chatted every other week for about a year. And he just helped me through making sure I was taking the right prereqs and all sorts of things along those lines. And I learned a little bit more about the program. They flew me out to Minnesota to check it out. And Minnesota is actually a beautiful place. I'm loving it here. We're staying at these places called the villas, which are on a lake. Like I walk out my front door and I've been swimming for the past few days, getting some sun on the dock that's out front. And then in the back, right behind us, is a ski resort where I've been able to do some trail running. It's just reserve judgment on, I don't know, flying out to a different state. Circling back to what I was saying, I got a little sidetracked. It's this like intimate education where your instructors are genuinely interested in being there to teach you and are wholly invested in your education and your success, which I have found both at Cabrillo and at Bell. So I just felt like Bell complemented my time at Cabrillo in a really special way. And I'm loving what I'm doing here. It's very hands-on, it's project-based. I always call Bell like the liberal arts school of engineering. That's how I try and explain it. It's like family and friends that are a little confused of what I'm doing. That's really what it is. It's this hands-on project-based approach.
Okay, who's going next? Daniel?
Oh, I'll go. Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Daniel Hereta. I'm an integrated engineer. So we learn a little bit about every type of engineering. So you kind of understand how to design your project around like multiple subjects of engineering, like a jack of all trades of engineer. But then my focus is like mechatronics. So I'm learning how to implement mechanical, electrical systems, may program them a bit. I was at Cabrillo for 4 years. I lived in Hollister, California. It was quite the drive, but it was an amazing school, fantastic teachers. I love the smell of chicken tenders and fries in the STEM center. You know, the aroma really gets your brain cells going. But what interested me about the Bell Academy was how you graduate with not only a degree, but the experience to actually be hired, and the like everything surrounding and being an engineer. You know, discussing your topics with the higher ups, with regular people on the floor, how to collaborate with your teammates, and incorporate their ideas in your own and mix them together, and how to be, you know, professional and just a representative of your company and where you've come from. So that all just encompassed into something amazing. And I was like, yeah, I graduate with everything that I need to fulfill my goals in industry. Of course, I'm gonna sign up for that. You know, it's just kind of like the whole package. So it kind of seemed like a no-brainer, and it's been going great. You know, it's kind of like more of a trimester style, so it's a little more fast-paced in terms of subject matter and your time to get through it, but like you kind of adapt, you know. um, and there's plenty of help from the facilitators like Andrew and your professors to help you along the career and just be the best engineer you can. You know, that's like from day one, they're one of their main goals.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So kind
Deb,
of
you're going
going off
next.
of what Daniel said.
Oh,
Oh,
Jordan's
Do it.
going.
Go.
Okay.
Who's
So
going?
going off of
Jordan or
what
Tim?
Daniel said, I'm Jordan. I also went to Cabrillo for 4 years, and I really liked the style of education that I got there. I got a lot out of all of my classes, and I was kind of all in as soon as I heard about Bell. I really like the style of education that they offer, and I really love the opportunity to actually work in industry because I feel like it's going to be a lot more valuable to me personally to be able to get that hands-on experience working with a company rather than just doing another 2 to 3 years of courses at a 4 year college and then like going and trying to learn how to apply for a job. I'm actually going through the job application process right now, and there's so many resources to help me. I constantly think about how lost I would feel if I had just like gotten a bachelor's degree and then went into it and tried to get a job. Engineering is a super employable field, but I would not want to be doing this alone right now. I really like the integrated coursework that they have. So they don't really waste a ton of time. They have you like watch a video and prepare for class, and then you just go into class like to learn the material. Like you've already seen it, and then you go in and you talk about it, which is a really good learning style for me.
Thanks, Jordan. Okay, Tim, I think you're on next.
Yep. Yeah, my name's Tim. I'm a little different from my colleagues here who I'm actually doing the program remotely. So I'm still in Scotts Valley right now. And yeah, I was at Cabrillo for 3.5 years, and good years they were. And but yeah, like what drew me to the Bell program was, you know, just the emphasis of really being able to work on, you know, interview skills, your resume, your like cover letters. Like we've had a class, you know, like multiple class on cover letters and practice interviews and all these very, you know, applicable things like right out of school that are important. And I also have a little bit different of a background because I went back to school, right? Like I worked out and did a career for a while and then went back to school. So hearing about learning, you know, on the job, and that really resonated with me. So that was something that I was like, man, that sounds great. Being able to learn, you know, in person, seeing what's going on and be like part of an engineering team from the get-go. And then, as Andrew said, graduate with 2 years of experience, which is huge. So, but yeah, it's a very overall, like the class sizes of our technical classes are very small. Like it's very like has a Cabrillo feeling to it, which is awesome.
And Andrew, is Tony here?
Tony's not. Tony
Okay.
is
Okay.
in another workshop.
Okay, so Andrew, do you want to take over? Keep
Yeah,
going or ask
absolutely.
and have my students ask questions? You facilitate.
That's where we're going. So I want to hear from y'all. The way I like to present is I don't necessarily know what you pulled out of that short presentation or what is the most gray is how I describe it. So why don't you all ask me some questions or my team here? What do you want to know?
Yeah,
Othello?
so I guess I could ask a question. I've been watching a lot of videos on your program, and seeing where you guys are located, but I don't necessarily understand how like your place is situated within the community college you're in. Do you mind sort of describing location?
Absolutely. So Othello's asking, how are we specifically so Othello is asking a question with some context. So he has looked up that we are actually located on a community college campus that is 300 miles away from our main campus. We do things in engineering education that don't fit in a normal university atmosphere. And that's part of why we are not on main campus. But we're not on main campus because we are actually a partnership between many different colleges, many different industry partners, and this is how it works. I'm going to leave it that vague because the ins and outs of it is relatively confusing, but we are just a university program housed on a community college campus. We're not affiliated necessarily with that community college. We aren't a community college. We are a university that you would transfer to after community college. Did that answer your question, fellow?
That did for sure, and I was trying to word the question the way you had said. You did much better. So for sure, thank you.
That's only because I live in the confusion. All right.
I just put in the chat that the American Society of Engineering Education, the National Society, gave the Iron Range and Bell program a very prestigious award for their innovative way of teaching and awarding bachelor's degrees in engineering.
And on top of that, it's ABET accredited, which was a really big thing for me in transferring in. That makes it feel very legitimate. The degree I was getting at UCSC wasn't even ABET accredited. So this was more accredited than my UCSC program.
If anyone's interested, I also just dropped a link to a research study that was done on IRE in the.
Thank you, Jordan. Aaliyah, looks like you have a question.
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering, because Daniel mentioned, oh gosh, sorry. Daniel mentioned that it's like a very broad engineering. You're just studying engineering and then you specialize. So what is the degree that you get? Is it the specialization? Like, do you get, say, if I'm mechanical, would I get a mechanical engineering degree, or do I get like a general one, or like multiple ones, or how does that work?
Great question. I'm curious to see if anyone has the answer, but Daniel, you want to go for it?
Yeah. So this is a question that's asked a lot in at the beginning of the program. So it's like you're an integrated engineer on the degree, And but in your resume, you put that you have a focus in mechatronics or mechanical or electrical, and that's what the companies look at, your resume. They don't look at your degree. So I think you can put it on your degree, like your focus. Is that right, Andrew?
So the exact degree title is Bachelor of Science in Engineering. That is your degree title. So Daniel's talking about the major. The major is technically integrated engineering. What that means is that we have a core curriculum that is split between mechanical, electrical, entrepreneurial, and statistics. The reason is that if you are a mechanical engineer and all you know is mechanical, it's actually really hard for you to communicate with an electrical engineer who strictly knows electrical. So we have an integrated base to allow you to really formulate the language to go back and forth into these silos, to not become a siloed engineer. With that, half your curriculum is in your focus area. So if you wanted mechanical, you would write Bachelor of Science in Engineering, focus in mechanical. That's what I would write. I normally don't explain integrated unless I'm in person because it means different things to different people.
Thank you.
And Jordan, I know you're interested in civil engineering, right? And Ray, would you remind me of which field of engineering? Are you mechanical?
Materials.
Materials. Okay. And Daniel, mechatronics, and then Tim, mechanical, correct? And then Tony, Hermes is what? I can't remember.
I think it was electrical.
Electrical. Okay. So Jordan, could you speak a little bit about your interest in civil engineering and how that's connected to the Bell program? Because we're hearing a lot about kind of mechanical, electrical. I want students to be comfortable knowing that the civil is available too.
So yes, I am specializing in civil engineering. That means that right now I am applying to civil engineering internship positions where I'm going to go and work with a civil engineering company on some sort of project for like between 6 months and 2 years. I can really do as many internships as I want. And then I'm also going to take different like core technical competencies while I'm doing that. So I'll still be a full-time student working full-time and taking classes with Bell. It's an integrated style, so you figure out how to get all the credit you need while you're working. But I'll just be taking classes to focus on civil, so I get to kind of tailor my experience to that and take small classes with instructors here remotely while I'm out in person doing an internship.
And Andrew, I know Skylar was another Cabrillo student who's a year ahead. And originally he was thinking about mechanical, but then in the end, he wound up getting decided civil and he's working for a civil engineering company. Is that correct, Andrew?
That is correct. He is
Okay.
doing concrete testing and inspections in an active civil position.
Okay. And Andrew, did Armando ever transfer to Bell yet? Or I don't know what because of COVID, I know that he took time off. So, okay.
Yep.
So now I want to explain to those of you in statics, the fact now that we have our Cabrillo students there, I'm beginning to establish more direct relationships with local industry here that want to apply, that want to potentially hire our engineering students. Because you guys, like Ray said, he's totally enjoying Minnesota, but it may be that you really want to end up back in the Bay Area. And I know that the Bell program already has links with industry, but I want to find industry myself who are specifically interested in hiring our Cabrillo students come back. And that's why I have Carlos here. And Carlos will stay on for a while, but I want to make sure that you're all getting your questions answered. So Othello, looks like you next.
Yeah, I had a question about just I heard in the classes there's sort of the exams where you do them verbally. And at first I was like, oh boy, this feels stressful when I heard about that. But thinking more about it, it doesn't seem as bad as it might be. And I was curious as to your guys' sort of interpretations and takes on that.
So Tim,
uh,
I think if we're doing 1/x, I'm gonna call on you next to answer that question, but and describe what I mean by 1/x. Joanne, go for it.
And Tim and Jordan, I'd like you to answer Othello's question too, because remember last year in statics was the first time I had oral exams for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so Othello, with the oral exams, it's a really cool process because it's not just like, oh, okay, like we're just gonna like sit you down and like this is the answer we're looking for kind of a thing. It's way more of a dialogue. So it's much more of a, hey, let's have a conversation about this topic, So like for instance, I just had a programming final a couple weeks ago. And so it was okay, like how would you go about doing this and kind of talking it through. And Joanne, I don't know if you're doing that kind of process in statics or if you've done that yet too, but it's kind of a similar manner. It's even a little more more dialogue, I would say, and less like like figuring out a specific problem necessarily, but really just making sure, like putting the focus on, do you get the core concepts? Do you get, fundamentally what's going on here so that you can use it in an engineering application in your job? Knowing that there's specific areas that, if you're using something all the time, you will know and learn more about that thing, right? Like if you have an equation or a specific principle that you're really is central to your job and to your function as an engineer, that is something that you will naturally get better at. But at least knowing the concepts of it is really key. And that's really kind of, I think, what they put the focus on in the oral exams to a point. Anyway, so Andrew was also talking about 1/x. So that's just something that here at Bell, like we really want to make sure that everyone is participating. So, it's not just a couple people that talk all the time and say everything and do everything, but really making sure that we get everyone's input, because everyone kind of just has a different perspective on things. And even though some people are quieter or whatever, that doesn't make their input any less valuable or meaningful.
So the oral exams are really just there to help you. They're intimidating at first. Like you go in and there's like a instructor, or sometimes we'll do oral fundamental principle exams where you'll go in and there's two instructors and your classmates are there too to watch you take this exam. But it's really just there so that they can give you really active feedback and help you identify where you're struggling, and then they'll help you. Like as far as I've been at Bell, I haven't ever been afraid to fail, which is pretty new for me. Like I've never gone into exam and been like, oh, I might fail this exam because I don't know it, because they teach us the material and they're not looking to let you fail. They're just looking to support you and help you through the exam.
Gotcha. That
Daniel,
definitely.
you were in statics too last year.
Yeah, I was, and it's really nice, these verbal exams, because you stand up and they tell you ask something and you get the whiteboard out, you draw it out. So if you're more of a visual learner, it kind of helps you like picture it together and show it to your instructor, and they just kind of want to see your process and what you think about it. And then just some like after they'll be like, oh, this is where you can improve. You've done really great. You're such a great student, Daniel. Blah blah. You know how it is. So I hope that answers your question.
That did answer my question. So Joanne, I have a question for you. Are we going to have at least one of those exams in class? Maybe.
I wasn't going to do it this year because
Ah.
it was 30 minutes per student.
Oh
So
boy.
it was 15 to 20 hours of
That's
my
a
time. Although I tell you, I enjoyed the 15 to 20 hours more than I enjoyed grading 5 hours worth of papers.
I
So maybe
bet.
we could throw it in. We'll
That's a
see.
logistics nightmare though. Oh my gosh.
It was a kind of scheduling craze. And then because I was only teaching statics last fall, where now I'm teaching 4 classes. So I don't even think I have the time to meet with you that many times. But if you're interested, we could do it during office hours. I could meet one-on-one with you and show you.
Awesome. So it looks like the end of your class period anyway. So for those of you, is that correct, Joanne? Those of you who would have to run, by all means run.
Yeah.
I'll hang out though. I can field some additional questions and then see if Carlos has any dialogue for me.
Yeah, Carlos, you want to give us your background and the company you're at now? Yeah, just to give them an idea of one company in our area.
Just like Andrew, I needed to find my mouse first before I mute myself. Hi, good morning. Hope you're all doing well, and maybe the Minnesota weather is really nice right now. Enjoy while you can. Although I have to say, I did live in the Northeast for a while, and there is a nice season change that you really get to enjoy. In a nutshell, have three major backgrounds. One, obviously, I went to school, did the industrial engineering in a local school in Puerto Rico. It's the University of Puerto Rico. And shortly after, I joined the Navy. I had too many student loans that I needed to pay for, and I figured, what's the best way to accrue principal. So I went to the Navy, went to the officer training school. Luckily enough, I qualified to become a pilot and flew in the Navy for a while. After the Navy, I basically, once I paid my student loans and I felt I was safe, I came back to the civilian industry. I did try to actually make my career in the aviation field, and had some congenital condition on my eye that couldn't keep flying, at least commercially. So flew cargo for a while and came back and did what basically we all need to do, is I started to optimize factories. Luckily enough, I started with a paper company back in the days that was today it's called the National Paper. Back then it was Temple Inland. And I've been in the industry about 25 years. I'm mostly working in training development of factories, employees, and really I've been a avid troubleshooter. And I literally call this now, which I do appreciate the integration that right now Bell is doing. I consider myself an architectural engineer. Mostly, this is probably the term will be a cultural architect. How you integrate the people, how you integrate the processes, and obviously the technologies into a holistic approach, which is what I like about Bell. I met Joanne in a company called Fireclay. We actually it was a very small operation, working with the board of directors. We were fortunate to actually, the board was fortunate in purchasing this facility. Joanne got to see this facility for the first time, probably in the first year that I was there. And this operation is actually told Joanne is sort. It looks now like an industrial terminal, and it all comes back to one thing: it's people, processes, technologies. Manage your lead, you're going to do well. The operation actually has grown, and right now I'm doing very similar here in Pride. And the biggest challenges are typical. Everybody tends to focus on a silo, and Daniel, you know what? You hit it on the nail, man. If you can actually become an engineer and know how to integrate the different concepts, you actually, the value that you're going to add to the companies, you can't measure it. Instead of doing silo leadership or silo management, you're actually doing operational leadership. And the concepts of electrical, you understand the concepts of mechanical, you understand the concepts of time, flow management, constraint management. And if you can integrate that and get some results out of it, I'll tell you, I've seen operations soar. That was the case of Fireclay, and I would say that's going to be the case of here at Pride. Biggest challenges we have right now is flow management, scheduling, and when I start to look at a little more cell improvement, and those are typical challenges that you're going to see in a lot of these operations. So young aspiring engineers, I would say one thing: focus. Don't focus on only one core. Try to get as much as you can from other disciplines. And I see Daniel, you're probably nodding there, yay, and I say yeah. Become an integrator. It's okay to be a special if you want to work for NASA. But if you're going to be in the industry, try to become an integrator and focus on your people. I would say that's probably the one thing, that one aspect that I would say a lot of the schools don't focus on is people development and leadership. An engineer with good soft skills, I would never put a price on that because the results that you ever get are invaluable. So that's my nutshell.
Thank you, Carlos.
You bet.
So it's not only our present students, but those of you who are at Bell are now meeting Carlos. Yeah.
And, in California, actually, I hear Jordan mentioning civil engineering. Pride is one facility here in Hollister, Raceline, and you can check it out on the website. It's raceline.com. Raceline does, I will explain to Joanne a little bit of, they actually do conveying systems, but also do all the civil and construction engineering for a lot of the major can manufacturers. What I get from Raceline now is that the backlog and existing orders is taking the company up to 2024 because of the usage of aluminum cans away from plastics. So, Raceline is experiencing just an immeasurable growth, and beyond the canneries and the design, the engineering, the construction, and the metals, there's also quite a bit of construction. They do have a division for construction. So there are a lot of, Raceline is really big into internships, and those internships are usually posted on the website. I highly encourage you to take a look at it. Anybody who's looking for internships now. Just last year in St. Louis, the company had 19 interns. And I know that at least two of those interns, all of them actually got jobs elsewhere, but two of the interns decided to stay in the company. So just check it out, and I'll go ahead and chat. I'll put in the chat the link for the company.
Okay.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you.
Yeah. And I know Andrew and Carlos, you're going to stay on a little bit longer with me. So I guess questions still, do any of you in statics have questions for one of our past students, or Andrew or Carlos? Okay, so then statics, if you'd like to take off, I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8.
Thanks for sharing, you guys.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to stay on longer, they can. And we're still being recorded, so I'm hoping it's okay that I could share this with other students, because there are a lot of you.
Nice to meet you, Carlos. Yeah, see you later, Joanne.
Yeah, and Daniel, you said you were from Hollister.
Yeah.
So
kind of
connecting with Carlos would be great. This might be one
that'll
place
be a short drive.
that might be where you'd like to have your internship.
Yeah. I'll make sure
And
to
great
look
seeing
through it.
you, Daniel and Jordan and Tim and Ray. Thanks. And please tell Tony I said hi.
Likewise, thank you.
Yeah. And Lukey, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
For Andrew.
Andrew. Okay. So Ray and Tim and Jordan and Daniel, if you want to go. See you guys.
Thanks, Joanna. Good to see you.
Okay, go ask away, Lukey.
Okay, so I'm kind of getting like the idea that the Bell program is just super hands-on and you're learning industry skills, but do you guys would you still take the classes that you would take at another university and learn, all the theoretical stuff?
Definitely. So I'll tell you the metric here that is our gauge. So all engineering students who attend a university take the same fundamentals of engineering exam if they wish to be a professional engineer. Our students have had no problems passing that, just like other universities. If anything, our average for passing on the first time is higher. So that is typically how I answer that, because that is, there's no subjective analysis of that. It's you on your own taking a 7-hour engineering exam. So yes, we learn it. We, like I said, our professors are That is literally what they study. And we're trying to find ways to make the same knowledge stick longer. If you look at what we do as engineers on staff, it's trying to figure out how to make the knowledge we're trying to share with you stay with you as long as we can. That's my answer in a nutshell. Does that help clarify?
Yeah. So you're kind of like, it's more of applying the things you learn to real world things rather than just learning the theoretical subject.
Yep. So it's learn the theory, apply it immediately.
Right. Okay.
And Andrew, I'd like to add something to that. And I know we've talked about this before, and I just want you to correct me if I'm wrong. Remember, Lukey, that you're going to be working full time and taking the junior and senior level classes at the same time, right? So you're going to be really busy. And so my feeling is that the Bell program probably won't cover all the detailed content in a course, but the depth is there. They'll pick the 10 most important topics and cover the depth. And you get this, I can't remember what the black book is called, Andrew, but there's this book that every student has that says, what concept did you learn? What's the details? How does it apply? What are the equations you used? So I feel like you won't be introduced to as much material, but you'll have it more. So if you're more of that theoretical type engineer, more of a sciencey engineer who wants to eventually go on for a PhD, Bell may not be the program for you. But if you are more interested in working as an engineer, it is a good program. Andrew, did I clearly state
Yep.
what I thought,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're good. That's a great breakdown of how we compare to a typical, I like to say typical university, let's just say universities teaching thermodynamics, that's 3 credits. We teach 1 credit of thermo. The other 2 are electives. We're going to distill it down to what you have to know in industry. But then if you want to go deeper, we have that in our structure, but you would use that as your electives.
Right.
Thanks for that clarification and reminder. I think that's important. So if you want to go deeper, you can. And I remember you describing that before, but if you don't want to go deeper and you want to take another something else, thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, that answers my question. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Lukey.
Okay. Thank you guys for sharing. Have a good one.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, so lastly, I wanted to connect you two, because I think that many of our Cabrillo students want to come back to the Santa Cruz area because it's beautiful and family is here. In fact, Tim is married and has a kid, and that's probably why he's not in Minnesota. So the idea to have that opportunity, Andrew, it will give you more of our Cabrillo students, knowing that they could come back. So I want to start these relationships. And like Carlos said, we met a few years ago at Fire Clay, which is, anyway. So would you guys like to talk a little bit more now, or Andrew, do you want to talk to Carl? I mean, you know, when you connect with industry, there's a spiel that you do, you know? I don't know
Yeah.
if you would like to do that now or later, or do you want me here or not, or what?
You can absolutely stay. I'll just do a little intro, Carlos, with, you know, if I gear the conversation towards industry, this is how I typically started is, as far as employment relationships go, it's normal. Employers employ our students like they would any other employee. However, what happens behind the scenes is, and a little bit in front of you, is I'm going to call you at the beginning of, let's say you hired one of our students. I'm going to call you and say, hey, this is a little bit of background about what we do, how we do it. And just to let you know, if this student is working 70 hours a week, they're not going to succeed in school. So some overtime, no problem. But just to help frame that there is an upper limit to how much this student could commit to and still make it through what they need to make it through. And then just say that I'm here anytime you need me. You give me a call. Hey, if you're having an issue, or if you're not having an issue and you just want to like bounce an idea off, hey, could this person do this? Do you have more students? Things like that. So typically I just have a check-in phone call with you every 6 months, if they're going longer than that, to try to make sure that you just are aware that there's a support network behind the student. In addition to that, what's happening behind the scenes, you don't have to do anything as an employer with one of our students on documentation, on things like that. Our students are responsible for that. So out of that 12 hours a week that they do for schoolwork, about half of that is documenting anything that's not under an NDA. So like they do certain papers and that's how they earn credit. So let's say they did a
What's NDA?
NDA?
Yeah,
a non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I know what it is.
Yep. The moment you asked me that, the definition escaped my mind though. So let's say the student was doing a paper on their design process at work, how they've implemented design processes in their co-op. That student is responsible for not releasing anything, any trade secrets, anything covered by that. Anyway, so that's ultimately my framing, is that in essence, from the employer's perspective, it's a normal employment relationship. From our perspective, we handle the logistics, so to speak. Our professors also schedule classes when the student is not at work. So we work around the student's schedule. You're muted there, Carlos.
Okay, my first guess on this is, Raceline. I'm thinking of Raceline and the amount of projects they have, the specialties that they're currently, as we speak right now, and I hear mechatronics, there is a division that's what they do for customers. They're creating automation, automated equipment, and they have a team dedicated just to create robotic codes for a lot of the production lines at their customer sites. But what I told you, Rudy's project about energy, in this case, what they're doing is two things: co-generating, and they're also just generating, or not generating, just they're extracting natural gas or methane gas from manure. That's a project that Rudy. That's more like a pet project, Rudy. Obviously, you have the civil engineering. Also, you have mechanical engineering, you have design engineering. So I think that you need to, Andrew. I will make sure, Joanne, with the meeting, that next meeting that we have, connect. I was taking some notes. Connect the Build program with Sarah. And Sarah in human resources, she's corporate, and she's the one that's spearheading all the internships. It sounds like they're going to have plenty of a forum for your students. And what I do like is the fact that you're not only specialized in one area, you have the ability to integrate, which is very refreshing. Because Joanne, when we went to school, we were very specialized. And the reason I did like the industrial side more than mechanical than the others is at least it was a little more general, not so specific. And I mean, I remember mechanical and I liked it, but I was so specialized on design, and I said, nah. So I would say that I like it. It is very refreshing. And, it's kind of hard for a lot of students to understand, well, why you're not like the typical. Well, guess what? Now being in the industry so long, say anytime that I would get someone, usually what happens is that they have a lot of experience in school, but they have no experience in the field. So they to be very theoretical, very dry, and by the time they get it, it's been a couple of years. with your integrated approach, my take is that, students will come in with a broader perspective. And, by the time that they finish a program, I mean, these professionals are almost hands-on. I mean, they're almost going to hit the ground running. It's just wonderful. I mean, that great vision there. So I would like to just introduce you and the program to Sarah. And I would also welcome, Joanna, anyone that you have from the school that would like to take on a project. Let's talk. I have the platform here to get some of the students engaged, whether it's going to be on the design side. We do have also a group of IT that is working right now on ERP implementation. So if you have anyone within the, let's say, industrial discipline that would like to do a brown paper on a process map and start mapping the plant and looking for delays, I'm working on that right now. So certainly we need to connect.
Well, thanks, Carlos. I really appreciate you coming to this, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yep, my pleasure.
Okay,
And
great.
Andrew, Joanne has my information. Please feel free to reach out, and I will be talking about you in the program when we get to meet with Sarah and the rest of HR about this upcoming opportunities.
Okay, great.
And I commend you. I commend you for what you're doing. Both of you, actually, both of you. You're shaping the future.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Carlos.
Oh, you bet. No, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
And well, we'll be talking, and Andrew, I know we'll be meeting soon. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Yep.
And Andrew,
Stay
would you
safe.
stay on for a little bit more,
Stay
Andrew?
safe. Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, bye, Carlos.
Bye.